All right, hey, Algebra 1. We've made some changes to the schedule. So it's April. Next week is spring break. Now, it doesn't mean we are, letting up here. But what it does mean is the objectives this week are objectives from the past. So instead of just showing you an example, I'm going to show you from problems you've done and most frequently missed. So this one we know 11 people missed, 2 people got it correct. And this is on the quadratic formula. So, all right, so the quadratic formula, we already know that one, right? But let's talk about this first. First thing is it has to equal 0, right? So right now it equals negative 12x. So we want to take that negative 12x and put it over on the other side. And so that would make it positive 12x on the other side. Plus 12x plus 10 minus 3x squared equals 0. All right, also we want to combine our like terms. And we want to write this in standard form. So let's combine these two. That would make 4x. And now let's rewrite it so it's in standard form. There we go. Now we can start doing the quadratic formula. So we're going to label A, B, and C, right? A is negative 3, B is 4, C is 10. Now we're going to write out the quadratic formula. X equals negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. All right. Now I'm going to substitute into the formula. So B is 4, so that's going to be negative 4. Plus or minus square root of 4 squared. Taking time to put the 4 in parentheses. If it was negative, that would be important. All right, because the calculator, if you don't put it in parentheses, will keep it as a negative. But the negative times a negative is positive. Okay, what is A is negative 3 and C is 10. All over 2 times negative 3. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to do the inside. So we know that 4 squared is 16, and we know 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 times 10 is negative 120. What is 16 minus negative 120? That would be 16 plus 120 or 136. So unfortunately, we don't see 136 under the square root, which I think is probably why a lot of people got this wrong. So over negative 6. But notice this, in the denominator, they don't have negative 6. Well, we know this can't be right because that's 8. And this is suspect because we don't have a perfect square. So what did they do? So what do you think? You think it's the 17 or the 34? Well, here's how we're going to figure it out. We're going to take that square root of 36, and we are going to do something we haven't done since December. We are going to simplify it. Let me simplify it over here. Square root of 136. If we break that down to the two numbers that multiply to 36, 136, that would be 50 and then 18. Let me just divide by 2. 136 divided by 2. 68, of course. So it's 2 and 68. So we are breaking down 136 into numbers that multiply to it. 68 is 2 times 34. What does this mean? This means this, that 136 is equal to 2 times 2 times 34. Equal to the square root 2, square root 2, square root 34. But do you guys know what the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is? It's 2 by definition. So the square root of 136, if we break it down, can be rewritten as 2 times the square root of 34. Again, how did we break it down? We just divided it into factors. I divided it by 2, and then I divided 68 by 2. And when we get a pair of numbers, that is a number that goes outside the square. So that means that I can rewrite this as -4 plus or minus 2 root 34 all over -6. And what do you notice about 4, 6, and 2? They are all even numbers. So we can make this -2, we can make this 1, and we can make this -3. So the final answer for this one is -2 plus or minus root 34 over -3. All right. So I hope that helps. Simplify your square roots. Sorry we didn't do that in the first video, but now you got it. You can ask questions about that. Okay, so now, so let's find the one that was missed by the most people. So we got 5 people got this right. What about this one? Huh. So all look very similar. Okay, so I don't know why people are missing this one, but hey, let's do it. The value of the discriminant. Well, it was J.A. Finance Park Week when we did this. So the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. That part is called the discriminant. And so we want to find the value of that. We know a is -7, b is 8, and c is 2. So 8 squared minus 4 times -7 times 2 is 64 plus 28 times 2. See the 2 negatives there. And 28 times 2 is 56. 64 plus 56. So the value of the discriminant is 64 plus 56, 120. But the important thing to know is that it's positive. Because it's positive, there are 2 x-intercepts. If it was negative, that would imply that there are 0 x-intercepts. And if it was 0, that would imply that there's 1 x-intercept. All right, so b squared minus 4ac. Calculate it, see if it's positive, negative, or 0. And then you'll know how many answers there are. Now let's solve by completing the square. So when we complete the square, what we want to do is we want to rewrite the equation. We'll rewrite the equation like this. And so we're going to use our steps. I'm going to put this over on the other side. So 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 6. Everyone good with that? Now I'll start the process. A is 1, so we don't have to divide by anything. Just get that c term over to the other side. Now I'm also going to rewrite this, so it's not that. It's nicer, right? So now let's get the c term over to the other side. Now let's add b over 2 squared, right? What's that going to be? That would be 2 over 2 squared, which is 1 squared, which is 1. So we are going to add 1 to both sides. X squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 6 plus 1. and then we're going to factor. So this factors into x plus 1. If I do my area model, x squared 1, 7, 1 times the 1. You have to add to 2x, right? That works. X plus 1 squared equals 6 plus 1 is 7. So this would be x plus 1 squared equals 7. Then we square root both sides. And we write plus or minus the square root of 7. And so x is equal to plus minus root 7 minus 1. Or we could say negative 1 plus or minus root 7. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, so hope that's helpful. Now the last one. So, yes, we have to do this one. So we're going to do these two. So we just completed the square. But now I'm going to take the shortcut. I'm going to find the vertex. So we know, we talked about last week, we're going from standard form. And this is vertex form. Okay, and so we're going to use the fact that the x value of the vertex is negative b over 2a. All right, so we know a is 1, b is 3, c is negative 18, and we're going to find, and then the y is just going to be h of negative b over 2a. So we're going to substitute our answer for x in to the equation to get our y value. The x value goes here. The opposite, actually, of the x value goes there. I know it says x opposite goes here. The a value goes here, and the y goes there. So what is the a value? It's 1. So already done. Now that negative b over 2a is going to be negative 3 over 2. So we're going to put positive 3 over 2 there. Because remember, the inside parentheses number always is opposite. It moves the opposite way when we shift, and it is the opposite sign of the actual vertex. But we're going to substitute this into our equation. So h of negative 3 over 2 is negative 3 over 2. And see, this is what I was saying about that parentheses, that we need that when we're squaring a number. So important. All right, so that's going to be 9 over 4, negative 9 over 2, minus 18. Common denominators are needed here. We'll multiply this by 4, multiply this by 2, 9/4. I mean, if you want to use a calculator, it's fine. So then 30, that's 72. 9 minus 18 is negative 9. Write it one time. That's negative 81. So it's negative 81 over 4. All right. So, hey, but guess what? You get a bonus question here. Bonus question. And it's this one. This one, we can't use our shortcut. Why is that? Because, simple reason. We have an a value, but there's no place to put the a. Oh, no. We're going to have to complete the square for real. All right? So let's do it. You guys ready? I'm ready. Let's divide everything by 4. Divide that a term out, and then you get 3x, and then we get the 9/4. Now we're going to isolate the C term. Now we're gonna divide our b by 2 and square it. That's 9/4. We're gonna add 9/4 to both sides. So x squared minus 3x plus 9/4 equals negative 9/4 plus 9/4. Add that to both sides. Okay? So then, doesn't always happen. This ends up being 0. So now I know we got 0 over there. And then this factors. How does it factor? The shortcut is it factors into x plus whatever b/2 is. So remember this step where we did b/2 squared. What was b/2? It's negative 3/2. So x minus 3/2. So it's going to be minus 3/2. All right, let's check that answer. Did I get it? X minus 3/2 equals 0. We did. All right, so that's the one where you have to complete the square. So I completed the square, but hey, the more you complete the square, the easier it will be.